that's the Spia for 64K and welcome to another episode of New Retro. And if you've never watched this show before, basically I look at a new retro game that has been released on an old system, and then we go back and check out the game that might have inspired it. And today's games are... Okay, so let's first take a look at the two inspiration games. Mikie was released in 1984 by Konami in the arcades. As an arcade division, Konami were on a high with many great hits in a row like Puyan, Time Pilot, Garrus, Hypersports, and I always felt Mikie got a bit lost in all those heavy hitters, despite it being a really cool but insanely difficult game. The premise is you play high schooler Mikie who's trying to put together a letter from his girlfriend. In order to do that, you need to run around your high school while avoiding the teachers, jocks, and everybody else, and collect all the hearts. Each heart makes a letter, and once a word is complete, you can escape the stage. There are 5 levels in total, from a classroom, locker room, cafeteria, dance studio, and a football field, all with their own enemies and authority figures to avoid. Gameplay is simple and addictive with risk-reward tropes where you gotta keep trying to get those hearts no matter what, but also know when to back off and do some dodging. It's very fast-paced and quite difficult, and it was a real quarter muncher back in the day. One of the most unique aspects of the game though is the soundtrack, which features 2 songs by the Beatles, which are A Hard Day's Night and Twist and Shout, even though that song was already a cover. I always thought these songs were unlicensed in the game, but they were actually licensed through Jazzrack, a copyright collection agency in Japan, to be used in the arcade version. Imagine what hoops you would have to jump through these days to make that sort of deal happen. What's interesting is that the game that was made exists only in its original form in Europe and the USA, because Konami got cold feet in Japan about it with its story of a delinquent high schooler getting up to mischief, and decided to change the whole setting to an office salaryman environment, with the game going under the name Shinyu Shain Torokun, which means Freshman Employee Toru, and was released exclusively in Japan by Sega. Mikie was released by Imagine in 1986 on the C64. Just like the arcade, for whatever reason, it is a pretty obscure C64 game to find as a standalone release. I think most people played this one in the Konami Coin-Op Hits pack, with myself included. The game itself is an excellent conversion to the C64 in every aspect. It's based on the US and European high school versions of the arcade, with only the dance studio level changed to a gym, which makes a lot more sense for a high school anyway. The gameplay is just as fast and frantic, with the game being a little easier, at least in my opinion, compared to the brutally hard arcade version. The graphics are fantastic on every level, and it captures the arcade perfectly, with really cool colors and animation, and it all comes in the form of a single loader game, which is very impressive. But the best part is the music by Sid legend Martin Galway, with not only some excellent original music, but his Sid interpretations of the Beatles songs are absolutely brilliant, making the arcade ones sound pretty pathetic in comparison. This is a great conversion by Imagine and sits right up there in quality with their Green Beret and Hypersports jobs, and is without a doubt the inspiration for the next game we're about to look at. And now let's check out the new game. My Life was released by Psytronik Software in 2016 on the C64. This game was made by the team of Trevor Story on graphics, Akim Volkers on coding, and Soul Cross on music. And if that team sounds familiar, they also made The Darkness, Age of Heroes, and tons of other fantastic C64 games that have come out over the last few years. The story for the game is you play Eugene, and he lives a pretty mundane life. Your goal is to survive 1 week in his miserable life and make it to the weekend. Each day has you trying to get to work, with each day progressively getting harder and harder. The gameplay is exactly the same as Mikie, with you needing to stamp on letters and make up words or phrases to escape each level, while avoiding all manner of death like weird vacuum cleaners and mailmen and all other mental things trying to kill you. The game features some really great high-res graphics that look extremely good, and the music is also pretty stomping and catchy, although not as memorable as Mikie's, but they did have the Beatles advantage, so take that with a grain of salt. I had a ton of fun messing around with this game. It's just a cool, fun arcade style romp that you can slap on for 10 minutes or so at a time between breaks from that latest epic 60-hour RPG that you're attempting to finish by the weekend. And you're probably wondering, Where can I get these games from?
As for the original arcade version, I'm not aware of it being re-released on any other systems beside the original 8-bit run, so your best bet is MAME to check it out. The original Commodore 64 version was available in a physical form. Like I said earlier, it's available individually, it's very expensive and hard to find, so the cheaper alternative on the Commodore is to find the Konami Coin Op Hits pack and play it through there if you want a physical version of it. And as for my life, it's available at Psytronik Software. You can download it, it's available in digital form, so you can play it on your C64 Mini and Maxi, and also of note, it's available in NTSC and PAL formats.
And thanks for joining me, Bastish B, at 64K. I hope you had a good time. If you can like and subscribe, that'll be greatly appreciated. I'll see you next time. Cheers.